Welcome back. I'm David Wilson, leadership coach and founder of Dominion Street Coaching. I have been continuing to reflect on leadership through the lens of some of the most influential books I've read, and today it's the turn of The Road Less Travelled by Scott Peck. It's not really a leadership book in the conventional sense. It's a book about human growth, discipline, love, responsibility, and spiritual maturity. But the more years I spend working with senior leaders, the more convinced I become that the deepest leadership principles are not techniques at all. They are, in fact, questions of character. And Peck begins with a sentence that has become famous: "Life is difficult." Not exactly the opening line you'd expect from the self-help industry, but I think it contains an important truth for leadership. One of the great temptations of leadership is denial. Denial of complexity, denial of conflict, denial of hard conversations, even denial of uncertainty. We often spend huge amounts of energy trying to create the appearance that things are under control. But mature leadership begins by accepting reality rather than resisting it. Life is difficult. Leadership is difficult. People are difficult. And change especially is difficult. Paradoxically, once we accept that, we become calmer, steadier, and no doubt more resilient. I often see younger leaders assuming that confidence means always having answers. But over time, I think leadership becomes less about projecting certainty and more about developing the capacity to remain composed in ambiguity. Peck argues that discipline is the basic set of tools we use to solve the problems of life. And he identifies 4 elements: delaying gratification, accepting responsibility, dedication to truth, and balancing. And I think all 4 matter enormously in leadership. Delaying gratification is especially countercultural now. We live in an age of immediacy, immediate reactions, immediate visibility, immediate rewards. But good leadership usually requires patience. It means resisting the temptation to optimize for short-term applause at the expense of long-term health. It means making investments whose benefits may only become visible years later. And it means having difficult conversations early rather than postponing them. In organizations, just as in life, deferred maintenance eventually becomes a crisis. Then there's responsibility. Peck is very clear that mental and spiritual growth require people to stop blaming others for everything. And again, I think this is central to leadership. Weak leaders externalize failure constantly. They blame the market, the board, the economy, the team, the culture. Someone else is always at fault. But strong leaders ask a different question. They ask, what is my responsibility here? Not total responsibility for everything, that becomes unhealthy, but mature ownership of one's contribution to reality. That kind of leadership creates trust because people instinctively recognize honesty when they see it. And another principle I take from the book is the dedication to truth. Leadership can become performative very easily, especially in senior roles. People begin managing impressions instead of pursuing the truth. They start protecting narratives instead of confronting reality. But organizations decay when truth becomes difficult to speak. The best leaders I've known create environments where reality can be named clearly without fear, where bad news travels quickly, where disagreement is permitted, and people are not punished for honesty. Truth is rarely comfortable in the short term, but avoiding truth is usually catastrophic in the long term. And perhaps the deepest idea in the book is that genuine growth requires suffering. Well, that's not fashionable language today, but I think there is wisdom in it. Most leadership development doesn't happen during success. It happens during disappointment, during failure, conflict, loss and uncertainty. So it could be a failed promotion, a difficult merger, a team breakdown, or a period of exhaustion. These moments often become the crucible in which character is formed. And one of the marks of mature leaders is that they stop asking simply, how do I avoid difficulty? And start asking, what might this difficulty be teaching me? And the irony is that many leaders spend years climbing ladders only to discover that achievement without inner development becomes strangely hollow. Titles are not maturity, status is not wisdom, and success is not peace. The road less travelled is ultimately the road of inner formation. And perhaps that's why truly exceptional leaders are relatively rare, because technical competence is common, ambition is common, intelligence is common, but humility, self-awareness, discipline, courage and integrity require a deeper kind of work, the kind of work that cannot be outsourced. And so maybe the invitation from Peck's book to all of us is this: don't avoid the difficult road too quickly. Sometimes it's the very road through which character is formed. And in the end, character is a foundation on which enduring leadership is built. Thank you for listening.